The legal troubles surrounding Keith Freeman, a former trusted ally of Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard, have escalated into a major federal scandal with wide-reaching political and legal implications. Freeman, once a prominent figure in local government, is now at the center of an investigation that involves accusations of bankruptcy fraud, financial misrepresentation, and unethical behavior. The case is part of a broader investigation focusing on multiple municipalities, including Dalton and surrounding South suburban areas. Of Chicago federal prosecutors allege that Freeman concealed significant assets and income during his bankruptcy case. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office, Freeman filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy in January 2024, claiming far less income than he earned. His bankruptcy documents indicated a much lower figure than his true income, raising concerns about his financial practices. Investigators also point to discrepancies in Freeman's reported earnings, claiming he understated his income from his position as the manager of Ford Township and Dalton's payroll. Public records reveal that Freeman earned more than $150,000 annually, yet he reported earning only $5,800 from Ford Township. Additionally, payroll records show he received $3,800 every 2 weeks from Dalton. These discrepancies have raised alarms about Freeman's financial integrity, particularly since his role as an independent contractor meant he wasn't paying taxes like Social Security or Medicare, which further complicated his financial standing. The accusations against Freeman are compounded by claims from Robbins, where Freeman served as village administrator from 2017 to 2021. Robbins officials allege that Freeman collected approximately $9,396 more than he was entitled to, and failed to provide necessary documentation to substantiate his earnings during his time there. In addition to these allegations, Freeman is also accused of submitting a fraudulent 2022 income tax return to the Chapter 7 trustee, showing a significantly smaller income than he earned, even though he didn't file a tax return that year. This ongoing investigation has led to growing questions about Freeman's integrity and whether his dishonesty extends beyond his finances to his work with local governments. One of the most troubling aspects of Freeman's behavior is his close relationship with Mayor Tiffany Henyard. Freeman held several key positions within Dalton and Ford Township, and Henyard played a significant role in his rise to power. Freeman also served as a registered agent for the Tiffany Henyard Foundation, a charity that supposedly helps cancer patients. However, investigations revealed that the foundation was not properly registered in Illinois and failed to file the necessary paperwork to show how it used taxpayer funds. Freeman's evasive responses to these questions have only fueled further suspicion and raised doubts about his conduct. Freeman's legal issues became more complicated when he was indicted for bankruptcy fraud. The indictment stems from his testimony during a creditor conference in which he falsely claimed under oath that he was not employed by Dalton and had not received payments from the village. Federal prosecutors argue that Freeman was attempting to conceal his financial situation by misrepresenting his income. They allege that Freeman used a pass-through company to hide his Dalton earnings, inflating his income to $195,000 while reporting a much lower figure. If convicted of bankruptcy fraud, Freeman could face up to 5 years in federal prison. The fallout from Freeman's indictment has significant consequences for Mayor Henyard. Once praised for her bold leadership and her successful restructuring of Dalton's government, Henyard is now facing increasing scrutiny. Freeman, once a loyal supporter, is reportedly cooperating with federal investigators and providing key information that could implicate Henyard. This complicates her involvement in the situation and raises questions about whether she was aware of Freeman's actions or played a role in enabling his behavior. The investigation has cast a shadow over Henyard's leadership, with former employees and political opponents accusing her of unethical practices. Once hailed for her decisive actions and strong leadership, Henyard's reputation is now in jeopardy. As more details emerge, there are growing concerns that her leadership is compromised by those closest to her. The investigation has placed Henyard at the center of a political crisis, as her ability to maintain control of the situation is increasingly in question. In addition to the bankruptcy fraud allegations, Henyard's administration is facing a separate lawsuit filed by a Dalton property owner named Tyren, who claims that Freeman played a role in blocking his efforts to obtain a business license to open a barbershop in the town. Tyren alleges that Freeman initially assured him he would receive the necessary permits, but later failed to follow through, leading him to believe that his business was deliberately blocked due to personal interference from Henyard. A building inspector has supported Tyren's claims, stating that Henyard had expressed a desire to control properties in Dalton, possibly even planning to take ownership of some of them. These allegations suggest that Henyard's administration may have engaged in corrupt practices, further intensify concerns about her leadership. The growing scandal has fueled frustration and anger among residents, who feel increasingly alienated by Henyard's administration. As the investigation into Freeman's actions continues, the controversy surrounding Henyard is becoming more significant. The public's trust in her leadership is eroding, and the future of Dalton's political landscape remains uncertain, with Freeman cooperating with federal authorities and providing potentially damaging information. Henyard's ability to weather the storm is increasingly in doubt. The ongoing investigations, combined with the mounting allegations, suggest that her administration may be facing serious legal and political consequences. As the scandal unfolds, it remains to be seen whether Henyard can regain control and restore her reputation, or whether her involvement in Freeman's actions will lead to the end of her leadership. In the meantime, Freeman's legal troubles continue to deepen. The investigation is far from over, and the full extent of the alleged fraud and misconduct may yet be uncovered. The implications for both Freeman and Henyard are profound, with the potential to reshape the political dynamics of Dalton and surrounding areas for years to come. As more details emerge, it is clear that the fallout from Freeman's actions will have long-lasting effects, not just on his future, but on the future of Henyard's administration, as well as the legal troubles of Keith Freeman, once a trusted ally of Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard, have escalated into a significant federal scandal with far-reaching implications. Freeman, a prominent figure in local government, now finds himself at the center of an investigation involving bankruptcy fraud, financial misrepresentation, and unethical conduct. This investigation is part of a broader inquiry into various South suburban municipalities, with focus on Dalton and surrounding areas. On January 30th, 2024, during a creditor conference, Freeman testified under oath that he was not employed by the village of Dalton and had not received any payments from the village. Prosecutors argued that this was part of an elaborate scheme to conceal his financial situation. Freeman had filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy in early 2024, claiming a significantly lower income than he earned. Prosecutors contend that Freeman hid his Dalton earnings by using a pass-through company to inflate his income to $195,000, while he claimed just over $999,000 from his work at Ford Township. The indictment also includes allegations from Robbins, where Freeman served as village administrator, claiming he took over $90,000 without authorization. If convicted, Freeman could face up to 5 years in federal prison. This case is being taken very seriously, with federal officials, including the acting U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Illinois, FBI agents, and IRS special agents, underscoring the gravity of the situation. Meanwhile, Dalton officials are eager for Freeman to step down as they try to distance themselves from the growing controversy that has become a major distraction for Henyard's administration. Henyard, already under scrutiny for allegations of unethical behavior and corruption, now finds herself further embroiled in scandal due to Freeman's legal troubles. Freeman's connection to Henyard, along with his involvement in the ongoing investigations, raises questions about her role and situation, and whether her leadership is being compromised by those closest to her. The scandal surrounding Freeman is part of a broader narrative of growing discontent and distrust within the community, leading many to question Henyard's judgment and her ability to lead effectively. The controversy over whether Freeman was an employee or contractor further complicates matters. Critics argue that if Freeman cannot manage his financial affairs, it calls into question his ability to manage municipal responsibilities. The fallout from Freeman's indictment has become more than a personal crisis for him. It has dealt a significant blow to Henyard's administration, casting doubt on her leadership and integrity. Freeman, who has pleaded not guilty to the bankruptcy fraud charges, was released on a $5,000 unsecured bond, but with strict conditions. However, his legal troubles extend beyond the bankruptcy case. He is also named in a separate lawsuit involving both the village and Henyard. Despite Freeman's long-standing reputation as a trusted public servant, his indictment has thrust him into the spotlight, and it appears no one saw this scandal coming after Freeman's arraignment. His lawyer expressed surprise at the intense media coverage surrounding the bankruptcy fraud case, suggesting that the government might be using this attention to pressure Freeman into cooperating with the broader investigation. The fallout from Freeman's indictment has cast a dark cloud over Henyard's leadership, with mounting evidence of financial misconduct and questionable decision-making in addition to the bankruptcy fraud allegations. Freeman is also named in a lawsuit filed by Tyron, a Dalton property owner, who claims Freeman played a role in preventing him from obtaining a business license to open a barbershop. Tyron asserts that Freeman initially assured him that he would receive the necessary permits for his project, but later dismissed him in a meeting, leaving him to believe his business was intentionally blocked. Tyron's claims are supported by a building inspector who stated that Henyard had expressed a desire to control properties in Dalton, possibly intending to take ownership of them herself. This painted a troubling picture of a chaotic and potentially corrupt situation in Dalton, where Henyard's leadership is under increasing scrutiny. Tensions and frustration have been building within the community, fueled by allegations of personal interference and unethical behavior by Henyard. Tyron's attempts to turn his property into a viable business were reportedly thwarted by what he describes as Henyard's involvement. According to the building inspector, Henyard's desire to control local properties and potentially take ownership has created a hostile environment for business owners and residents alike. These allegations against Freeman and Henyard have become intertwined, contributing to a growing crisis of confidence in Dalton's leadership. As the community grapples with the unfolding scandal, residents are left wondering how deep the corruption goes and what steps will be taken to restore trust in local government. The mounting evidence of financial misconduct, personal vendettas, and questionable decision-making has left the community shaken, with many calling for accountability and urgent new leadership to repair the damage done to Dalton's reputation. Federal investigations are ongoing, and legal battles are intensifying, leaving the fate of both Freeman and Henyard uncertain. Their combined fall from grace is already having lasting effects on the town, leaving behind a legacy of division, mistrust, and uncertainty. Despite the growing legal troubles surrounding her administration, Henyard has remained defiant. She continues to assert that she is a target of politically motivated attacks, stating, "I am the target of people who want to see me fail." Henyard reportedly dismissed the growing allegations against her, maintaining that they were part of a larger effort to undermine her leadership as the investigations continue. The future of both Freeman and Henyard remains in the balance. The unfolding scandal has left the community divided, with many questioning the integrity of their leaders and the direction of Dalton's future. The situation is far from resolved, and it remains to be seen how the legal challenges will unfold, and whether the leadership of Dalton can recover from the damage caused by these allegations. The scandal has undoubtedly shaken public confidence, and the road ahead for Henyard and Freeman is fraught with uncertainty. The political situation in Dalton, Illinois, has reached a critical juncture, with Mayor Tiffany Henyard's leadership under intense scrutiny amid mounting legal challenges, financial mismanagement allegations, and increasing public dissatisfaction. At the heart of the controversy is Henyard's continued support for her longtime ally, Keith Freeman, the Dalton administrator, who is now facing federal fraud charges. The scandal surrounding Freeman, coupled with a lawsuit from a local business owner, Tyron, and growing frustration from residents, has raised serious questions about Henyard's ability to effectively govern. Freeman, once a trusted figure in local politics, is embroiled in a complex legal case involving accusations of bankruptcy fraud and financial misconduct during his tenure as village administrator. These charges have only deepened the rift between Henyard and the village trustees, who are now openly questioning her financial decisions. Allegations against Henyard have escalated as trustees point to questionable expenses, such as thousands of dollars spent on Amazon purchases, bakery cakes for a community event, and tens of thousands of dollars allocated for a one-day township event. These expenditures have sparked outrage among both trustees and residents, leading them to vote to halt funding for upcoming events like House Fest and Gospel Fest. Henyard, visibly agitated by the criticism, accused the trustees of acting out of emotion and hatred, asserting that the township had a surplus thanks to Freeman's management. However, the pressure on her leadership only continues to mount as public frustration grows, as the controversy surrounding Freeman deepens. Henyard's leadership is coming under increasingly harsh scrutiny. The growing scandal has raised concerns about the ethical and financial integrity of her administration. Her defense of Freeman, even in the face of serious allegations, has become a point of contention. Critics argue that her unwavering support for Freeman amidst such serious legal troubles calls into question her judgment and whether she is capable of leading effectively. Freeman's indictment and the allegations from Tyron, a local business owner who claims Freeman obstructed his efforts to open a barbershop in Dalton, have further compounded Henyard's difficulties. Tyron asserts that Freeman initially promised him the necessary permits, but later dismissed him, leaving him to believe his business was deliberately blocked. These claims are supported by a building inspector who stated that Henyard had expressed a desire to control properties in Dalton, possibly even intended to take ownership of them herself. This paints a troubling picture of corruption and mismanagement in Dalton. With Henyard at the center of the controversy, Henyard's leadership has been further undermined by accusations of extravagant spending, including a controversial trip to Las Vegas in May, which reportedly cost taxpayers thousands of dollars. The trip has sparked outrage among residents, with some going so far as to label her the worst mayor in American history due to her perceived financial mismanagement. When questioned about the trip, Henyard's dismissive response did little to quell the growing criticism. Her defiant stance has only alienated residents, who are increasingly demanding transparency and accountability from their leaders. The mounting pressure on her leadership continues to grow, and her failure to address concerns about the township's finances has deepened public distrust. The political turmoil surrounding Henyard and Freeman has fundamentally reshaped Dalton's political landscape, leaving many residents questioning whether Henyard can weather the storm and regain their trust. The growing number of scandals, including Freeman's legal issues, Henyard's extravagant spending, and allegations of financial mismanagement have created a volatile environment where the future of Dalton's leadership is uncertain. The ongoing investigations into both Henyard and Freeman have left the community grappling with uncertainty, as residents demand answers about the state of the town's finances and the actions of their elected official. One of the most significant revelations came from former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, who presented a bombshell financial report that revealed shocking findings about Dalton's finances. The report uncovered unexplained credit card transactions totaling thousands of dollars and millions of dollars in outstanding payments to vendors. It also revealed a staggering deficit of $3.65 million in the general fund as of May 31st. These findings painted a grim picture of Dalton's financial health and raised serious concerns about Henyard's ability to manage the town's resources. Despite the growing scrutiny, Henyard has continued to deflect criticism, portrayed herself as a victim of a politically motivated smear campaign. This strategy, however, has failed to resonate with the public and has only further eroded trust in her leadership as the political pressure on Henyard continues to mount. Her refusal to engage in meaningful discussions about Dalton's finances has only fueled public discontent. Trustees and residents alike are demanding greater transparency regarding the approval of vendors and bills. The lack of transparency has made it difficult for residents to trust her administration, and the combination of allegations of financial mismanagement, abuse of power, and a lack of accountability has further eroded confidence in her leadership. Henyard's close association with Freeman, who is facing serious federal fraud charges, has only intensified the controversy surrounding her administration. The situation reached a boiling point during a special village board meeting, where residents voiced concerns about the ongoing scandals, including accusations of sexual harassment, retaliation, and discrimination. The Illinois Department of Human Rights has launched an investigation into these allegations, further complicating Henyard's ability to regain control of the situation. The mounting legal battles, coupled with public frustration and anger, have left Henyard's leadership in a precarious position. As more allegations surface and investigations unfold, it remains uncertain whether Henyard will be able to salvage her political career, or if the scandals will ultimately lead to her downfall, further complicating the crisis. Henyard's defiant approach to criticism has deepened the divide between her and both residents and political figures. Her continued refusal to address concerns about the village's finances, coupled with her dismissive attitude toward those who question her integrity, has made her leadership increasingly unpopular. As the scandals surrounding Freeman and Henyard continue to unfold, the residents of Dalton are left to wonder if their elected officials will ever be held accountable for their actions. The political landscape in Dalton is shifting rapidly, and Henyard's continued refusal to engage transparently with the public has only fueled calls for new leadership. Many residents are now demanding a change in leadership, seeking transparency, accountability, and a restoration of trust in local government. The legal investigations into both Henyard and Freeman are ongoing, and the political future of Dalton remains uncertain. Freeman's legal troubles have already cast a long shadow over Henyard's leadership, and as more allegations surface, it is unclear whether she will be able to navigate the growing crisis, or if her administration will collapse under the weight of these scandals. The situation in Dalton has become increasingly unstable, with Henyard's failure to address growing concerns from both the village board and the public, leaving her with little room to maneuver. The legal battle surrounding Freeman, along with ongoing investigations into Henyard's administration, have raised serious questions about her ability to maintain control over the village. As financial revelations continue to surface and public frustration mounts, Henyard's position as mayor is becoming increasingly tenuous. The future of Dalton's government is now uncertain, and the legal, financial, and political challenges facing Henyard have created a volatile environment where residents and trustees alike are questioning her ability to effectively govern the town. The coming months will be critical in determining whether Henyard can weather the storm and regain the trust of the community, or if the ongoing scandals and legal battles will lead to her downfall. The political turmoil surrounding Dalton, Illinois, has reached a boiling point, and Henyard's continued refusal to engage transparently with the public has made her leadership increasingly unpopular. Despite her attempt to portray herself as a target of a political smear campaign, the allegations against her are growing in both number and severity. The combination of financial mismanagement, Freeman's legal troubles, and ongoing investigations into her administration's conduct has left her political future hanging by a thread. As the investigations unfold and the community's frustration grows, the fate of Dalton's leadership is uncertain. The road ahead for Henyard is filled with legal challenges, political turmoil, and public outrage. The future of Dalton's government, once hopeful under Henyard's leadership, now hangs in the balance. Residents, trustees, and political figures alike are left wondering if Henyard can restore their trust or if the series of scandals surrounding her administration will mark the end of her political career.